I am for total freedom. Freedom comes from nature. All the sounds you hear around you can be expressed through notes, musical notes. You can express everything your ear perceives in the rhythm of the world around it. Some people want to follow rules first. Personally, I just want to reproduce what I hear. I work the way I want. It gets me nowhere that music makes people think. To me, it would be sufficient if music made people listen. So that is a quote from Claude Debussy, who wrote it in his book. And obviously it's not made to make you love him or made to like him very much. It's more like he wants to provoke or even just to emphasize how important to listen open when you hear his music or any music, and also how important to connect yourself with everything around you, and maybe also to recognize when he says there's a rhythm in the world, that actually music is like us humans, a part of all this, which means we are already connected, and also that there are kind of the same laws that are equal, and that makes it so interesting that when you listen, it makes you feel it's just something natural and not something artificially arranged or artificially created. So actually, when we have the word art, it's like artificial, but it comes in the origin from artisan, which means like a handcraft made, but it's supposed to come back to its origin, which is very much the nature. At least that's the idea of Debussy, and he dedicates even all his preludes to titles that are describing different landscape or different momentums of the nature. And today we will play La Neige. Enjoy! So we start with La Neige, which is a piece that you can definitely play yourself. It is absolutely not difficult in a sense of technique, whatever that means, but it's very complex in the sense of how to make it one. It's very much falling apart if you don't know how to connect the phrases, and then there's this mystery about this. So very basically 3 notes that are repeated about, I think, 25 times throughout the piece as a small miniature motif, and that is, I guess, for the representation of La Neige. What is La Neige might be the white color, might be the consistence and also the density of the snow. The snow, sorry, I didn't even translate neige. La neige is the snow in English, so it has, if you ever have like a holiday in the snow, you might know that it depends very much if you can go skiing or not of the density. So it can be frozen and very harsh consistence, or it can be very soft and light and fluffy, and I think you can play a little bit with this idea. And then I think personally it's very difficult to make this piece not boring. So in the beginning, when I heard it first, I thought it's like the most boring piece in history. and obviously it's not. I'm very sorry, Debussy, to have thought so. And it is also so special that Debussy in this impressionistic time actually creates such a unique style that is absolutely recognizable, just him, and he's not at all copying or not at all similar to anything else. And yes, well, even already his quotes what I said before. He is a very complex personality. For example, he had lots of struggle with money and with his life, but what I think is important to imagine that he wrote this book which is almost like making fun of the public and in the same time kind of maybe being serious, questioning himself through his own personal maybe struggles. Debussy pretends that he gets interviewed and he asks imaginary question to himself that maybe he wants to be asked or he wants to answer, and then he answers in his imaginary role, and so he completely questioning his own role as an artist, as a composer, as a pianist, and also his relationship with the public. So that has been very helpful for me to get closer to this music. So we have to take it literally when he writes very strict what we have to do, like crescendo, whatever it is, when he writes triste and lent, so very sad and slow, yes, and we should stay as precise as possibly, because he kind of really was into this belief that it's so important to, in his way, to reproduce nature, right? But in the same way, the second most important thing is to create the atmosphere. Because if you just play like a robot, and even if you stay very, very faithful to all, yeah, I mean, you can play it like this and you will be already very close. But if you want to add this atmosphere without changing all the little details that he wrote. Okay, let's go. So already the first bar is just 3 notes, and it's so important because it comes so many times repeated. by the way, the full title is not La Neige, but Des Pas sur la Neige. And the titles are always in the end of the score. So you don't have the title on top, like normally, but after the music, which already show you that you're supposed to take the music for itself and not associate before everything else something with the title, but stay faithful to what is the music without any programmation added. And then also it is with some little dots like point, 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 des pas sur la neige, which means it's just could be this title or another. That's what I think. And that is, as the quotes of Debussy, so typical that he doesn't give you something very concrete to hold on, but as music also it's Debussy is requesting or demanding you to do some work of your own, even when you're just listening. It is an active thing to really listen and not just to stay passive and let the music pass you, but really get into it. And yeah, I think that's why the title are in the end. And Des pas sur la neige means the steps on the snow, which means maybe you're walking through the snow, and maybe he had this idea just after he wrote a piece, and maybe he had the idea before, but it is up to us to find our answers and to find how you can really listen to each note. Yeah, so there's one moment when Debussy writes comme un tendre et triste regret, which means like a tender and very sad regret. And this is the only moment maybe that you have sort of the right to come out of this neutral or stable nature atmosphere, which is just the snow and kind of colors maybe, or small noises from nature. But here, definitely in this moment, is something human expressed, like that, otherwise he wouldn't write it. So that is the moment when you can very much add this contrast of emotional thing. And that is something that you should ask yourself, how much emotion, in the sense of how much is it meant to be emotional? If he says it's about nature, and he says he wants to just recreate it, and he said this is about snow, and the other one will be about the wind. This is the phenomenon, right? The phenomena of nature that are obviously part of music, or music will be expressing them. We should very much consider to stay as noble is a good word, to not like overcome yourself with all these emotions. And most importantly, don't put your own emotions in this. That doesn't mean that you can't feel it, but don't project or associate your own story in this, because it's not about your story or about your emotional interpretation. But this is so pure and clear and untouchable. Yeah. Then also, I don't want to leave it not mentioned. It's very difficult to play the rhythm correctly. I guess I never achieved how I wanted, because this triolet, which will be then silenced, it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I can't even say it, you see. It's like this need to be integrated, and unconsciously almost you have to do it like in a sleep mode. But apropos sleep mode, the biggest danger when you play it in concert is that you actually fall into this meditation state, and you're not actively making music anymore, and you can almost fall asleep, or you can actually lose little bit your consciousness in this piece. So that is all I have to say about my experience, and all I have to say about this very beautiful prelude. So actually Debussy had this courage to write music exactly as he wanted to. And today everybody loves Debussy, and we should maybe take the challenge to express what we deeply feel the need to express, even if we never took the chance or never had the courage, and go for it, like writing a song, or like writing a poetry, or like writing your own book, or make like a mise en scène of some theater, or invent a new piece of art. You know, like try to find your own voice and express what you feel that you always wanted to say. Yeah. I hope you let us know what that is in the comments. I'm very curious to know. That's all for today, and come back soon, and please subscribe if you didn't have the chance yet. Bye!